All right, we are at the top of the hour, so let's begin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this month's session of our ACT training webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about uh, some practical tips on how to harness insights from ACT. We're basically going to be doing some data mining today to give you deeper insight into three different areas of your business. This will be a little bit different from previous webinars we've done where I'm not necessarily training you on features, but what I want to do is kind of give you a bigger picture. You've been using ACT all this time, and what can you get out of it? And I want to show you some areas, some tricks that you might not have known about to give you deeper insight into how your business is going. For those of you who are new to this series, this is something we do every month on the last Wednesday of each month. We pick a different topic and we just sort of expand it a bit and talk about it for 45 minutes to an hour. We have a Q&A panel. We definitely encourage you to ask questions. So if you have questions, locate the Q&A panel inside Zoom and ask your questions there. I think Daniel's on the line here. He's going to help us answer questions today. Also, this one always comes up. This is being recorded. So if you have to leave or if you want to come back and watch it again later, don't worry, we're recording it. We will send you a link to the email address that you used when you signed up for this. But you can also go to act.com/explore, and that will show you all of our previous webinars, including this one. We usually get the webinars updated very quickly. So also at the end, there's going to be a little survey for you just to ask you how you think it went. And if you have any ideas for future webinars, you're free to share them there. We're always looking for more content, more ideas for the things that you want to learn about. So share those at the end of the survey after the webinar is over, and we'll definitely take all those into consideration. Today, we're going to go through some live demonstrations on how to mine data from ACT to give you deeper insight into the customer side of your business, the sales side of your business, and of course, the business side. I've got a lot of examples here on the screen. We'll go through each of those one by one. My name is Brent Milner. I've been with ACT for over 18 years now. I live in northern Arizona, where it's full of trees and snow. It's a good place to live. So let's talk about mining data for insights. If you're like most small or medium-sized businesses, the chances are you're extremely busy. Of course you are. And you're also expected to juggle a number of diverse functions and tasks in the course of a typical day or week. These day-to-day responsibilities, they take up most of your time. And this is time that you would prefer to use to take stock of your sales performance or to work on new products or services, or even figure out which of your marketing efforts are working best. The bottom line really is most people don't have the time to just zoom out a little bit, to get a bird's eye view or a little more perspective of what's actually going on in their business, outside of course, the day-to-day craziness that you get caught up in. And when you think about it, you spend all this time collecting mountains of valuable data about your customers in ACT, but you probably don't have the time to even leverage that to its fullest extent, to really harness the value and power of that data. You'd probably like to understand what's happening. You want to look at trends and patterns. You want to uncover those little nuggets of insight that you can use to change course on things that might not be working effectively, or double down on things that are. In other words, it's really easy to spend so much time working in your business that you aren't even able to spend time working on your business. And the quote you see here on the screen I think it's really interesting and it's relevant in that it's our experience in talking to customers who often have been using ACT for many years. What they tell us is that they have very mature processes for capturing customer information, but they're really not getting the full value from that data by being able to look at it holistically, or to analyze it for trends and patterns, even just slicing and dicing it to identify any new opportunities. So to that end, Today, what we want to do is share with you some practical ways that you can do just that by using ACT and the customer data that you already have. And that's the key point here is if you've been using ACT for a while, you already have this data. So let's use it. So get into the details here. What exactly are these insights that I can get from my ACT data? Where do I find them? And once I find them, how can I use them? Well, there's dozens of ways to leverage your customer data to uncover actionable bits of information. But we generally see them falling into three categories. And so I've separated those out for you this month. We're going to talk about customer insights, sales insights, and business insights. And I'm going to show you a few examples of each within the ACT product. And my hope is that you'll find a few of these that you can put into practice right away in your business. So let's begin with customer insights. I'm going to talk about things like advanced queries and ACT marketing automation, and even the universal search feature that you may not even know about. The first thing I want to do is jump into ACT, and I'm going to talk about using the power of advanced queries and dynamic groups to help you find those people that are elusive, those contacts that are elusive in your database based upon different variables. What we're really going to do is uncover that hard to find group. And the reason is the power of finding a group of people and then doing something with it is huge. That's valuable. A lot of the time, what we do is we kind of hunt and peck and assemble these groups together manually for one-time use, not realizing that we can get much more out of this by using dynamic groups and ACT to find the exact changing list of people over time that we can always use. So what I'm going to do is show you a group that I created. And this group is called Southwest Opportunities Closing Soon. So what I've done here, if I locate it, is I've created a group of customers, contacts in 3 different states. So in Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. But I also want to add on to that another layer from the opportunities area in ACT. I want to show opportunities that are open, currently open, but also their closing date is within the next 120 days. So there's a lot of information, there's a lot of rules or caveats added to this group to categorize it. And the way I've done that is when you go into groups and you're creating groups, you can choose to create groups based on dynamic rules. And what this means is instead of just manually picking people to add to your groups, adding them one by one, removing them one by one, you can use the dynamic members area to create rules inside of ACT and then let ACT manage that group for you going forward. So in this group, it's fairly complex, but it didn't take me very long to set up. And what I've done here is I'll go to the edit criteria window here just to kind of show you how these rules are built. I have 5 rules in here, and I think they're pretty straightforward. What I want to find here is all contacts who belong to the state of New Mexico or Colorado or Arizona. So you have these and or operations that will really help you fine tune who you're looking for. But you also have these parentheses columns, which lets you sort of group rules together and then add additional rules on top of that group, if that makes sense. So for these rules, I have contacts from New Mexico, Colorado, or Arizona. And from that bundle, I also want to add the rule that they must also have an opportunity that's closing within the next 120 days, and the opportunity must be open. So those 5 rules grouped together in this fashion gives me exactly what I want. If I go back to my actual group listing here, we can see that I have a bunch of contacts here who meet that criteria. So what I can do with this is I can create a lookup from this group, print that out, and start making phone calls. Or I can go one by one to each of these opportunities, to each of these contacts, to look at the opportunity, to see where it is, to see uh, where we stand with each of these. But what you do with this information is up to you. But this is a valuable type of search, a valuable type of group um, that will give you exactly what you want. And one of the good things about this is this group membership will always be changing. As opportunities get closed, some of these contacts will drop out of the group automatically. As new opportunities get created, new contacts will be added to this group automatically. I don't have to keep configuring this group every month or every week. Act does all that work for me. It shows me exactly what I'm looking for. So that's a great way to get some insight on your customers, to keep an eye on them without letting any of your opportunities slip between the cracks. Right away, it shows me what I want. And of course, you can build additional groups for different territories. Really, it's up to you. As long as you're capturing that data in Act, you can build great groups from that data. And that's why I always tell customers, Act is only as good as the data that you're capturing. If you're only entering in names and phone numbers, you're not really going to get much use out of it. You need to add additional information on each of your contact records, opportunity records, and so on, so that you can make the most out of Act and the data that you're gathering. Let's look at a different example inside Act Marketing Automation. I want to see how my customers are engaged with my campaigns. So in this example, what I've done is I've created 3 different types of campaigns. I have one campaign that's a newsletter, another campaign that really promotes an upcoming event or product release, and then my final campaign is all about renewal. It's a renewal notice for customers who maybe their contracts or maybe their subscriptions are about to expire. And the reason I've done is I want to see which of these types of campaigns receive the best response rate from my customers. I want to see which campaigns my customers are most likely to open. And the reason is, if I'm spending a lot of time spinning my wheels, creating marketing campaigns, and my customers are just ignoring it, well, then I know I need to make a change. I either need to change the way that campaign is presented, or maybe abandon it completely and double down on the types of campaigns that get the best open rates. So one thing you can do here is, after you've created your campaign and activated and it's been sent out to your customers, you can look at your campaign's dashboard to see how it's doing. There's a couple ways to do this. You can either click on any individual email within the campaign and from here view the email statistics for it, or you can go to the actions menu for a campaign and view the dashboard as a whole. Either one of these will give you valuable information for things that you'd like to see. In this example, in my newsletter campaign, I can see that I sent it out to 11 people. This is a real small sample that I created just for this demonstration today. But yet, of the 11 emails that I sent out, only 2 of them were opened by unique customers or contacts. So that tells me I have an open rate of about 18%. Maybe that's not so impressive. If I go back, I can see also a timeline down below of when customers opened my emails, when they clicked on links in the emails. So we have a chart down here that gives some additional information for that. And I can do this for each of these campaigns and just kind of get an idea of which one or which ones are giving me the best response rate. And I know in my Insight renewal campaign, I clicked on this one a lot more. So this is what a campaign would look like if you're getting a phenomenal response. This one was sent out to 7 people, but all of them opened it. So I have a 100% open rate for this campaign. And that tells me, okay, whatever we did here is working. My emails are getting sent out. My customers are opening those emails. They're clicking on links within the email. So they're engaged here. So let's take that back to the team and say, whatever we did here, let's repeat this. And not only that, let's use whatever that strategy was across the board for all of my campaigns going forward. So really quickly, I can look at response rates for my e-marketing campaigns, and that'll help me make decisions in the future on how I want to move forward so that I'm engaging my customers as much as possible. The last thing I want to show you inside this sort of customer insights banner of mining data from your database has to do with the universal search in ACT. Now, some of you might say, what is that? I've never heard of this. What's a universal search? Well, if you've never noticed it, it's right here at the top of your screen. There's a little search window at the top. Now, over time, we've been doing lookups to locate contacts and to find different kinds of data. But this universal search is hugely powerful in that it can find anything in your database, no matter where it is. And I mean anything. In the slide that we showed, you saw on the right side that there is a list of supported file formats. Well, what does that mean? The universal search will look, of course, through your contact data, your opportunity data. It'll look inside the notes that you've created. It'll look inside histories and activities, but it even goes deeper. It looks inside any single attachment that you've added to your database. So if you've created a quote sheet, or if you've attached a spreadsheet as a document inside ACT, or even if you have created some kind of image, it can even search within image files. There's a whole list of files here that the universal search can look within to find any matching data that you might have gathered. So here's an example. Let's say that uh, for some reason I need to enact a recall on one of my products for whatever reason it might be. Maybe it's defective. Maybe there's a health risk. Maybe it's just not being supported anymore, and I need my customers to know that they need to move to the latest version or get an upgrade of some kind. What I can do is enter the name of that product, whatever I might have called it, into my search window here. So I have a product called Cloud Canner 35. And if I type that into the universal search window and hit enter, ACT is going to retrieve for me every time in my database that that exact string or that exact text has been used. And of course, it's a product of mine, so it's going to show up everywhere. Anytime I have an opportunity that includes that product, it's going to show up as a search result. But it's going to show up other places too. Whenever I have activity records that mention this search string, whenever I have any history records that mention it, or any notes, or down at the bottom, there's attachments where it appears inside, I think, a spreadsheet. Uh, this search is powerful because it's looking, like I said, everywhere in the database. So what can I do with this search? Well, on the right, you can use these filters to show only specific types of records. So maybe I don't want to see every opportunity or every product that's associated with it, but maybe I just want to see any activities that have to do with this search, or any history records, or any attachments that might have to do with this search topic, so that from this, I can move forward and reach out to anybody who might have been interested in this product or have a history of purchasing it. Maybe if I had invoices that included this, it would show up here as well. I have spreadsheets that show my customers who have purchased this product. So this is really giving me more about what I want. Once I filter this list out, one of the cool things I can do from here is just click this create lookup contacts button. And what ACT is going to do is, from the results of that search, it's going to find all the contacts who have that search term, that Cloud Canner 35 search term, in one of those areas. So now what I've done is I have a lookup of customers who may have purchased that product. So I can reach out to them and continue that conversation. So there's other options for this. I'm only using one example of a recall, but think of other sort of ways that you could use a search like this. It's limitless. You're really searching your entire database from top to bottom by using this simple universal search feature at the top. Going on back to our list here, the next thing I want to show you is how to gain some insights by mining data from the sales areas of ACT. We're going to look at things like your sales pipeline, um, getting finding out who's opened specific quotes that you've sent out, even building some charts to show you how your team is doing, how your sales team is doing, how your products might be doing. Let's look at some of these real quick here. The first thing I want to do is go into my opportunities area, and let's take a look at our pipeline view within opportunities. Now, the pipeline view is meant to just show you from a bird's eye view, from a high level perspective, how things are going. So when you go to the opportunities area and you click pipeline view, this is going to give you three things. It's going to give you a sales pipeline chart in the top left, which kind of shows you open opportunities by stage of your process. And on the top right, you're going to have some key performance indicators. It'll give you information on the number of open opportunities you have, the forecasted value, what you expect to gain should all of them close and you win the opportunities. Average age, you can add additional key performance indicators to this list as well. There's just a few out of the box that we've provided here. And then down at the bottom of the screen, we have our interactive Kanban board, which lets you interact with individual opportunities that are open, and it shows them by column on each stage of your sales process. So looking at the sales pipeline graph, what do I see here? It's a list of open opportunities by stage, and it's just giving me a number of opportunities. Right now, I'm looking at the number. I can toggle over to the value. It shows me where's the bulk of the money in the current pipeline. So by toggling back and forth to each of these, you can make some decisions. Where do I need to focus my efforts? It looks like I have a big list of opportunities in my negotiation stage, totaling over $20,000 of potential sales. So maybe I want to refocus my team on those specific opportunities this week. Let's get these progressed from this stage to the next stage. Or if I'm just looking at my count, I can see I had the bulk of my opportunities, the actual number of them are in this initial communication stage. So that to me is an easy fix. I can just reach out to all these customers and let's find out, do you want to talk more or not? But just from this chart, I can make some decisions because I've got some data at my fingertips. Once we know what our choke point is, once we know what the bottleneck is, I can then go to the bottom of the screen here and I can scroll through each of these columns to see where these opportunities are. I can click on them to open the opportunity and then work on it, begin to progress it to the next step. Now, another thing I want to talk about has to do with not necessarily the pipeline view, but your sales team. Some customers have asked me, what should we do when we have turnover on our sales team? We might have somebody who's resigning, somebody who's moving on to another company. How can I protect my opportunities? How can I reassign them to somebody else on the team without losing that? Well, I need to do that. I have one of my employees who's going to resign, so I can resolve this without losing anything. And what I'm going to do is start really in Act Insight. I want to take a look at my sales metrics view just to see how each of my sales team are doing. So in my view area, I'm going to switch to sales metrics for Insight. And the chart I'm interested in really is the forecasted sales by sales rep. So I have one of my salespeople, I think it's Yvonne here, who's leaving the company, but I can see that she has some sales in her chart here, forecasted sales that I don't want to lose. If I click on that bar in the chart, it shows me, okay, she's got 3 opportunities that are currently in the open pipeline. I don't want them to be abandoned. I want to reassign them to maybe myself for now, and then we'll work on who should be handling that going forward. So now that I know that information, I can go to my opportunities area and I can really create a lookup of these opportunities within the opportunities area so that I can start to interact with them. The way I do that is by using my filters on the right. So currently I'm showing all of my open opportunities from all dates across all of my processes and stages. But down at the bottom, we have this select users button here. This lets me fine tune or filter this lookup. And what I want to do is I only want to show selected users. I just want to show Yvonne. If I click save to that, it will show me those 3 opportunities that have been assigned to Yvonne. And now I can reassign these. Now I could do this one by opening each of these opportunities and changing the record manager. But there's a faster way to do that, because what if I had 20 or 30 of these? I don't want to go through these one by one. There's a feature in the edit menu, and it's called replace field. If I use that replace field feature, it lets me choose one field. And so in this case, maybe I'll use record manager. And instead of it being Yvonne, I'm going to just change it to myself. And once I do that, I can replace each of these opportunities to be assigned to me rather than Yvonne, so that going forward, those open opportunities are now assigned to somebody who's still at the company. So that's a really easy way to look up your data, to gather some insight from it, and react based upon what's going on at the company. The last thing I want to show you here in this sales umbrella has to do with customers who are engaged with your quotes. So maybe you send out lots of quotes. You might be able to send out 100 quotes, but what do you do next? How do you know who you should follow up with? You can't always expect or rely on your customers to call you. So maybe you have to call them, but maybe you only have time to call 5 of your customers today. Which 5 should you call? Well, we have a partnership. We have a product called Linktivity that we are offering now. And in Linktivity, there is a product called Link to Quotes. And what this allows you to do is to send quotes out from ACT to your customers and then sort of track how your customers are interacting with those quotes. We'll probably talk more about Linktivity in the future, but I want to let you know this is something that's available for you right now. So in the Link to Quotes area, I have generated 4 quotes, and I've sent that out to 4 different customers in my ACT database. The tool is really easy to use. You can include all kinds of information in this quote, and it emails from this tool out to your customers directly. So it kind of does it all in 1 to 2 steps. That's really easy to follow. Now, once I've sent these quotes out, how do I know who I should call next? Well, over on the right, there are some filters here up above on the right side. What I want to do is I want to filter my list of quotes by those that have been viewed. So if I add this little filter into my list and click apply filters, it's going to show me which of my quotes have been opened or viewed by my customers. Whether they've read the email or clicked the link on the quote, it shows me that they viewed it. So now I know, okay, these customers have actually looked at the quote. Those are the ones I want to focus on first. And really, there's a lot to talk about inside this feature, Link to Quotes, and on the other features inside Linktivity, link to events, link to calendar, and link to forms. We'll talk about those in the months to come, I think. But yeah, you can find out more about Linktivity and those features at act.com on our website. This is a great way, though, if you want to be on top of that sales pipeline to make decisions on who you should reach out to first from your customers who have open opportunities. Next up, I want to talk about business insights. This is the last topic that we're going to cover in this session today. Now, for business insights, I'm going to look at a few things here. I'm going to look at our custom tables area to show you how you can extrapolate some answers from the data that you're gathering there. I also am going to look at back at ACT Insight for my charts. I want to see maybe which of my products are selling the best. And I also want to get some data over time of how we're doing. So let's go into the custom tables area. And I've created a table here called mortgage. This was kind of the simplest example that I could put together, I think. In this custom table, I have a list of customers who currently have loans out, whether it's a first loan or a second loan. I'm gathering information like who their lender is, what company they work for, how much was the loan about, and what's their interest rate. And there's a few other kinds of information that I could gather here, but I really wanted to sort of keep it simple for this demonstration. One thing I might want to do from the very get-go is just to find out what my total book is worth by loan amount. So one thing I can do, because this is a mathematical field, this is a currency field, I can get a sum of all this data very easily in custom tables by just going to this little gray footer bar at the bottom, right-click on that, and choose sum. What that'll do is it'll give me an amount down at the bottom. Might need to stretch out this field a little bit to see the total, but it shows me the sum of all the fields above it. So really quickly, you can find out things like sums, averages, number of items, and even a minimum and maximum values when you have numerical values listed in your fields here. But I also might want to do a little bit more here. Maybe I'm keeping an eye on interest rates, mortgage interest rates. And as those interest rates fall, maybe I want to reach out to customers to take advantage of that. I have some customers who have some really high interest rates. And so once those interest rates become a little more attractive, I want to be really proactive and reactive to that so that I can reach out to those customers quickly and maybe gain some new business. So one thing I can do has to do with this interest rate column here. I'm going to use the quick filter toggle switch at the top of the screen because I want to filter out interest rates maybe that are higher than, I don't know, 7%. I want to see all my interest rates that are 7% or higher. So when we toggle on this quick filter option, it gives us a bunch of filters at the top of the screen that we can use. So I'm going to put in here 7.0 is the interest rate that I'm interested in, but I'm also going to make sure I check this box is greater than or equal to. And once I do that, we can see that these interest rates, some of them are really, really high, but I have a list of customers now whose loans are higher than 7%. And of course, you can sort as well. If I want to start with the really high ones first, I can do that. But really quickly, that gives me better collection. It helps me to mine this data to give me a list of customers that I really want to reach out to as I watch the market and how it's trending. And that's available inside custom tables. One of the other things I want to show you here has to do with Act Insight. So I'm going to jump back into Act Insight here. And I want to show you which of my products are working so far this year. I want to look at trends, maybe compared to last year. Now, we have a default chart in here called sales by product. And from here, you can change the filters to show either this year's or this month's. There's a lot of date options here. There's even custom dates if you want to just switch these to say, maybe July of last year. I could switch these custom dates to show me those things. But one thing that I can do also is create my own charts. If I want to have several charts side by side, always that I can refer to. And you got a sneak peek of this earlier, but I have a new view that I created called products by month. And I've created some charts here. What I'm showing is which of my sales team are selling the most products each month. So this tells me two things: most active sales people, but also which products are moving. And you can create new rules. If you edit this chart, you can see what the rules are, and you can modify this to show exactly what you want to show. By clicking on any of these bars in the chart, it gives you the opportunities that apply to that, what caused that number to be the way it is. But here is a great way to kind of show some trends over what's going on over time. I scroll down and I created another chart as well. I'm focusing really on one specific product here. And in this chart, I want to see which of my salespeople are selling the most of this specific product. Maybe we had a new initiative where we wanted to focus on a specific line of products or one product. Um, Over time, I want to see who has been uh, moving most of those products. So here's another chart that I can quickly use. And again, if you click on any of the pieces of that pie chart, it shows you exactly which opportunities that those numbers came from. So in Act Insight, you have the ability to create advanced charts like this to show exactly the data that you want from any of the tables in your database, whether it's your contact table, your opportunities table, whatever it might be. As long as you're gathering the data, as long as you're collecting the data and putting it into Act, these charts will serve you well. So today, what I've tried to do is show you several different ways that you can extract knowledge from all the data that you've been collecting in Act, maybe even for years. As you know, this knowledge empowers you, it helps you take action. And then not just take action, but we want you to be confident in your decisions, whether it be by knowing who your best prospects and customers are, or just by being able to communicate with customers in a more targeted way. Maybe you even want to have a better understanding of your team, your sales team, and your company performance along different dimensions. Knowledge is power. We've heard that said before, but being able to put knowledge into action is all the more valuable. So I want to thank you for joining us today for this webinar. Here's the link that I told you about at the beginning, act.com/explore. This is where you can go to sign up for upcoming webinars and also view previous webinars on demand. We've been doing this for, I think, 19 months or so. So there's a lot of content in there that you can look up. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover for an upcoming webinar, either fill out the survey after this webinar is over and tell us there, or you can just email us at team@act.com. We will hang around for just a few more minutes to make sure all of your questions are answered. But thank you once again for joining us. Hope you have a great end of the month. Happy April Fool's Day. And we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.